Hi, I'm Jimmy Chang, and we're here to talk about how to graph sines and cosines. Now, the one thing to remember is that sines and cosines are actually the same graph. The primary difference between the two is that they each have a different starting point and therefore a different ending point. So let's talk about how the sine graph is, and then we'll see how the cosine graph is related to it. So when you have the sine function, the one thing to remember in its original form is it starts off, quote unquote, it starts off at 0, 0. Now, from there, it starts to increase. It doesn't get us any higher than 1, but then once it reaches 1, it goes back down, and it won't get any lower than -1, but then it starts to work its way up again, and it works like this. And the left end of the graph works the exact same pattern. So the sine graph is that of an infinite pattern. Now, where the cosine graph comes in, and I'm going to draw on the same graph so you can kind of see what's going on, it starts off, instead of 0, 0, it starts off at 0, 1, quote unquote, as part of its base. And then from there, it works its way down. Again, it doesn't get any lower than -1, but it doesn't get any higher than 1, but the pattern works the same way. Now, again, it's kind of a rough sketch, but just as the sine graph looks the same on both the right and the left, the same can be said for the cosine graph, working out that way. So as you can tell, both sine and cosine have the same peaks and valleys, but they each have different starting and ending points. So I'm Jimmy Chang, and that's a brief introduction on graphing sines and cosines.